can hear it.
That's exactly what happened to me.
You know, buddy.
Maybe everybody knows that it was.
Hi, sure.
It was Bogey's wish, is Bogey's wish, that we would meet here this afternoon at 5 p.m., which is exactly the hour on which they're meeting in New York. I learned earlier this week that they expected 50 plus people there. Interestingly enough, and not surprising given the Actis-Grande's vote, that several of the people are from Europe and others from South America. And I think it says something about the fact that we all have become part of their group. They definitely were people of the world. And so we're here, obviously, to pay tribute to this incredible woman. And it turns out that we have a video, and I want to give special recognition to Paige Hammond and Paul. I think Paul was part of this, but
Maybe.
but being a husband, we're both husbands, so we understand to give credit, all credit to wives. But anyways, they were with Bogey recently, and I don't know if you know this, but they have been incredibly helpful to the Actis-Grandes in their move into Westport. And so obviously it enriches a friendship, and so they're with him and he mentioned the fact that this video we're about to watch was being created for the memorial service in New York. And Paige jumped up and said, well, if you could make a duplicate, we could do that in Treasure Cay. Therein became the genesis of the idea of those of us who have been in the privilege of visiting their friends are sitting here today. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the video, and then we're going to have those who want to express some memories, some thoughts, whatever it might be, to share as one would do at a memorial service for such a remarkable person. And so with that, I'm going to just stop talking and hopefully turn on this video.
The sartorial splendor of Bogey was reflected, I think, in that ridiculous rabbit's hat, right? Yeah. Have you seen that? He was in our house 1 week ago today wearing that hat.
Wonderful.
We had a laugh with him then, and we would always have a laugh with him. All I want to make, the only comment I want to make is he did say something that I was struck by. I want to share that with you just for a minute. He has this concept in his head. It's a little amorphous and it's not clearly spoken, but essentially it is. That while we're here at this moment, having just watched the video of this wonderful woman with phenomenal smile that lights up the screen, focus that a little bit. Have if you can, think of an anecdote that you just saw. See Caryl. Just see her for a moment. What we're going to do is kind of lift the spiritual link. This is Bogey's idea. The spiritual link between those who loved her here and those who loved her in New York. So just spend a moment doing that. Thank you.
The happy thing is that they got to Connecticut, many stories, but they chose happily not to purchase a townhouse, but to rent one in an absolutely lovely area. We have many friends there, and the townhouse is just charming. In fact, as I'm sure you all know, in my business, they called on me to help with the 100 signed pieces of artwork we hung in this townhouse. And I have to tell you, just to see Caryl's Caryl light up. I don't think they had ever been anywhere where all the artwork was hanging in one place. She walked around, I mean, she was thrilled. It took us actually 2 days to get it all done. And Bogey kept going to his office and pulling out another package. And I go, wait a minute, we got to get all this out here because I got to sift through this. Anyway, Paul and I got back from a 5-week trip in New Zealand, and the phone call was, can you come for dinner tomorrow night? So cute. We'd only been home a night. He had, the Bentleys were there, and he had an evening of watching the New Hampshire returns. Oh, anyway, you know what, we had a lot of fun, and I love the spirit that he is willing to go around the corner, get the bottle of wine, pick up some food, invite people over. So please do keep in touch with him. I think at some point we may see him back here, but he's going to take some courses at the Silver Mine Artist Guild in Norwalk. So he's trying to put the pieces. He sends his love, and I'm sure he'll see tonight from Becca everything that's going on here. Thank you.
Is regarding a recipe, and whenever that we would go to their house, Caryl would have something that I thought was my favorite, and that was her creamy pate, French pate. And so I do not have it today because I could not make it the way that Caryl makes it because she had it down perfectly. But I do have recipes for you to take with you because I think I want to share with you, and I know she'd be happy to share that recipe with you. So I have it in the kitchen. I'll make sure you have that one.
You haven't got a recipe for the peppers as well, have you?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
For the what?
Peppers.
The peppers.
Peppers.
The roasted red peppers.
Although she made it sound as if it was so easy, but I know peppers were wonderful.
When we met in London and we went to their house and they took us out to dinner, you couldn't have been any nicer to us than they was. And at the time, we didn't know them very well, and it was a really special day, and I'm glad we've done it.
Yeah.
Not very often, but I'm glad that we did it.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to say those few words.
But I never thought of Bogey or Caryl. I always thought of Bogey and Caryl. They were, I don't think I've ever thought of them individually because they were so together. And just a quick story. Al and Jenny and Betsy and I and Bogey and Caryl went up to our place in Canada, and Bogey loved to fly. And Betsy's in the back seat. She just told me tonight she was holding Carol's hand because Caryl hated to fly. I had a 206, it was my first float plane, and this darn thing loved the ground and the water. And we would take off and we'd be bouncing on that water forever, building up speed. But Bogey just absolutely loved that. He wanted to go to Oshkosh. We never made it to Oshkosh, but just a great couple and a great guy. And you all know we're almost direct opposites on 70%. But let me, I'll read you what I. Bogey and Bacall. A famous marriage I know nothing about. Bogey and Caryl, a marriage I've admired since I met you as a couple many years ago. You rank at the top of my all-time list of couples I admire. You two were so good together. The love and caring that you shared with each other was so obvious and real in those pictures. You could tell from the pictures. And I always enjoyed watching the synergy between the two of you. We've both reached the stage where we know how fleeting life can be. I am truly sorry for your loss. I do, however, smile easily when I think of the times we spent together, the ever-present humor, and the looks that Caryl would give you after one of your bogeyisms. and we all remember those. I hope you find comfort in your grief, knowing that you two had something so special and so good for so many years. I still feel the loss of my mother, but I feel oh so lucky to have been her son. I hope you can find comfort in a sense of feeling oh so lucky. Sincerely, they're not the same tears, but sincerely with tears in my eyes, Tom. But they were a pair.
Bogey and Caryl all over the world. We've been so lucky to share those trips and experiences with them. You know, I don't want to really drop names, but several years ago, Caryl was still in the business in Paris, and she invited me to go to the haute couture fashion shows. Well, I mean, I was just amazed, and I wore a black suit with lots of different scarves. I mean, I had no idea what to wear, what to expect, but we did sit in the gold gilt chairs. We did sit with Jean-Paul Gaultier's mother. We did sit with Donatella Versace's children, not to drop names.
Being a little something.
And so when I was telling Al this, I said, you know, I've just seen her at this stylish best, and of course, you know, this was her business, so she knew everybody knew her. It was just like a fabulous, amazing trip. I said, now Al, what I'm trying to think of is like the opposite extreme. And then I thought, you know what, Caryl was so stylish, there really wasn't ever a downside. And he said, well, I don't know, what about that birthday party at Pete's Pub? He said, you know, that might have been the downest it could have been, but you know what, she was still so styling. You know, you just couldn't keep up. Yeah. You just had to admire it, enjoy it, and, you know, go with it. And I did, every minute I could.
Yeah, that's great. That's something we are not, and that is a childhood friend, and a lifelong friend of Bogey. So I thought it would be appropriate that he's done something pretty special, you'll see. In any event, I thought I would offer this little thought. Fred and I were invited to be their guests in Paris for Bogey's 80th birthday. And obviously, for Caryl, nothing was too good for Bogey, so the evening comes, and the next thing you know, we're on a boat going up and down the Seine, drinking champagne. And I think, Joe, Brenda, this is amazing. And it was amazing. We went from there to a restaurant on the left bank. I remember we went up, it was a small restaurant, we went up some steps. We went into a private room, and I think there were 14 or 16 of us there at this table that was square. Everybody sat on the outside. And other than Brenda and me, the rest of them were people that they had worked with in Europe. And so everybody's having a nice time, and all of a sudden, like we are tonight, they started around the table reminiscing about their days with Caryl and Bogey. And I feel that the feeling we all have tonight was so much a part of that evening. It was amazing to me. I sat there thinking, God, we're going to be the last ones. I mean, the way it was going around the table. What in the world I was going to say? Because these people, the love and respect that they showed for those two people was just palpable. It was just there. It was amazing. And I remember sitting there and looking at Caryl and thinking, you know, she and Bogey did this, and now they were able to walk away from it and turn it over to others. And now she's going for English literature degrees, but she's gone on to the next step in life. And that's the point I really wanted to make, not just about the people, but the fact that this woman has gone on. And I thought of something I read not too long ago written by a man named John Gardner, who talks about self-renewal. And he wrote, "Meaning is not something you stumble across, like the answer to a riddle or the prize to a treasure hunt. Meaning is something you build into your life. You build it out of your own past, out of your affections and loyalties, out of the experience of humankind as it is passed on to you. Or out of talent and understanding, out of the things you believe in, out of the things and people you love, out of the values for which you are willing to sacrifice something." The ingredients are there. You are the only one who can put them together into that unique pattern that will be your life. Let it be a life that has dignity and meaning for you. I think that's what Caryl did. And think about the things that she did, accomplishing what they did. 2 kids who left the United States to go have some fun in Europe, and they ended up building this remarkable business. She left that, and she gets degrees in English literature, and she's just a remarkable person. And I think we all feel so incredibly fortunate to have been part of her life when she brought it to us. So those are my thoughts.
I did bring pictures, and you all are welcome to take any pictures that you would like. I mean, I have lots, and so does Becky, so just help yourself to those. The ones in that folder I am going to save for him, but the rest of them, you know, help yourself.
I used to like to ride my bicycle all over the place, and one evening I was lost out there, and I saw the golf course. I said, I'll just count the links backwards, and that'll get me somewhere I know. So I'm counting the links backward, riding my bike on the golf course, on the side. There wasn't anyone around, but suddenly, Caryl and Bogey come. And I'm riding kind of in there. And we finally we get back to the clubhouse, and I'm trying to explain to them, and they think I'm nuts. And so I start riding home. Well, turned out I didn't know who they were. I didn't know where they lived. They lived in the same place as I did. And suddenly I'm there, and I'm trying to explain again, and they're just scared to death. So then it went somewhat beyond that, and the final wonderful thing was that Kathy and I and Parkinson went to Santa Fe to the opera, and Caryl and Bogey had been there for quite a while. And Caryl was our host. She got everything arranged. We actually had a tour of the whole facility during the day of how they were operating. And it was a school for opera. And they had people making wigs, sewing wigs. That was about 40, 50 hours sewing. They would make scenery, they'd make the costumes. It's wonderful. And Caryl and Bogey had only been there a couple of years. And Caryl had become part of the opera, and she had the pull to get us a tour with the head of the opera. It was wonderful. It was great. Starting from this crazy guy and ending up here was wonderful.
Oh, I love that.
I was so excited. That was the highlight of the trip.
Yeah. That's nice. So, at this point, what I'm going to ask everybody to do is stand and hold hands.
Both hands with one hand.
I can.
Hold an elbow.
Yeah, I've got it. She's got it.
And I think we ought to have a moment of silence, thinking about what she did bring to us, which has been so beautifully expressed in so many ways here this evening. And then Tony is going to share something that that Bogey has asked that we here tonight, holding hands, listen to Tony's sonnet.
I knew Bogey when we were 12 years old, first met. He lived on a farm. His family had a farm in Dutchess County, an old apple farm. And he and I used to shoot woodchucks together. That's how we became friends. Then he went to prep school, a place called Staunton Military Academy. You know, I know I'm talking about Bogey, but I have to give you the foreground before we get into the thing. And he got his pilot's license time before he was 16. I think you could get it when you were 14, but you couldn't carry a pass it until you were 16. Bogey got his pilot's license when he was at Stein. In any event, he came home, went away to college, and came back and married Caryl. She worked in a place called Bergdorf Goodman's. I don't know if any of you know what Bergdorf Goodman's is, but it's a very upscale department store in New York City. And for those of you that have seen the movie Arthur, remember when Lisa Minnelli went in and swiped the tie and Floor Walker grabbed it? That was Bergdorf Goodman's. And she was working there. And she was a buyer. And Bogey was working at Look as a writer. I think she was a better buyer than a writer because Bergdorf Goodman is still there and Look went broke. But anyway, they married and she had this idea of going to Europe and representing department stores and purchasing fashionable clothes. And of course, her first client was Bergdorf Goodman. They moved to London, by the way, Terry, when they first went to Europe. Then there was the, I think, department store in Washington. It's a long Jewish name. Can't think of it.
It was Woodward and Lothrop.
Woodward and Lothrop.
Say it again?
Woodward and Lothrop.
You're thinking of
Garfunkel.
Right. And Neiman Marcus.
My name is Marcus.
And they couldn't, she was very clever. They would not and could not, she felt, represent more than one store in each city. This was the beginning. And what they used to do, they would go to San Tropez. And Bogey would take pictures of the ladies walking on the boardwalk of San Tropez, write up a story about the clothing. Caryl would contact the store, and they were paid a stipend for doing that. And that was the beginning. Then they finally went to Paris, where they should have been in the first place, but of course they couldn't afford it. And eventually, I wrote a couple of contracts for him, but eventually I said to him, you know, you should charge the manufacturer of the clothes that you recommend a commission, rather than charge the stores a fee. I think that they started doing that and things really turned around for them, happened. But in the interim, they came and visited us here. And they used to summer in the Greek islands. And Bogey was a very good swimmer, by the way. When we were kids, he was good. So he liked to snorkel. But there weren't any fish in the Mediterranean around the Greek islands. There just aren't. Everything's fished out. So he became an octopus So, and we were sitting, they came down the first time, we were sitting on the deck of the house, and he went out swimming. And Caryl and I were having a drink and talking. I don't think there's an octopus left on Windward Beach. He killed them all in one day. Brought them in, beat them on the rocks, and cooked them on the grill. They were good. They were really good. But in any event, that was their first sojourn to Treasure Cay. Then the next year, they came down again and brought John. And then I think the year after that, they came down one more time and bought a condo. They liked it so much. She was probably one of the best females I've ever known. I had a difference with her a few years ago. I have to think back and say, my goddamn Machiavellian mind thought differently than what she had done. In other words, I unjustly got angry at her. But since then we made up. Probably her greatest attribute was her generosity. Not only monetarily, but with her love. She really, truly loved everybody. She just, it was, you know, I'm terrible. They'd say, Caryl, how about, oh, he's very nice. You know, I want to strangle the guy. She's she never spoke poorly of anyone, and she loved everyone. And a few days ago, Paige and Brenda got a hold of them, Bogey, and asked if John was going to make his own speech in New York. They asked if I couldn't put together a few words here. So I did. And I wrote a sonnet. It's about Caryl.
I think this is where Bogey would like us to be.
And I guess now we would like you to all hold your hands. And I have to tell you, I'm just as tough as Tom Wheeler, but I'll probably cry just as much. Where did my glasses go? A tribute to Caryl Actis-Grande, who questions who is first and who is last, departed from this earth on which we live. It seems that justice is not often cast by taking those that gave the most to give. While many of us keep and let not part, where some the deed of sharing does unfold, yet those that give have purpose from the heart and gather strength from loving young and old. For Caryl blessed us all with boundless love. Regardless of the final verdict's call, to her to give was gathered from above. She gave her heart and all her love to all. So let us bow our heads and say a prayer and thank the Lord to leave her in his care.